Hello, Virgo. The silence that arrived 6 weeks ago did not sound like indifference. You noticed this immediately, though you could not explain what you heard instead. Indifference has a frequency light, hollow, a paper bag caught in a grate, rattling with the wind but weightless. The silence they gave you was heavy. It arrived packed in salt and dragged across the floorboards of your life like a piece of furniture too large for the doorway. You felt it in your shoulders first, then your jaw, then the specific muscle at the base of your skull that only tightens when something is unfinished, when a sentence has been cut off, not by a period but by a hand clamping over a mouth. You have been standing in that unfinished sentence ever since. You have been conducting an investigation in the dark, Virgo. You have reviewed the evidence until the evidence lost its meaning. You have replayed the final conversations, searching for the trigger, the misstep, the moment where your precision became too much, your honesty too sharp, your love too thoroughly administered for a person who could only tolerate medicine in small sugary doses. You have blamed your own standards. You have blamed your own depth. You have blamed the way you see through performance to the trembling child underneath because you assumed that your clarity was the weapon that drove them away. You were wrong. They did not leave because you were too much. They left because they told a lie about you to the wrong person, and the lie turned around and bit them so hard they are still bleeding in a room you cannot see. Let me tell you what really happened. Not because I was there, but because lies leave residue. They leave a specific electromagnetic disturbance in the field between two people, a static that makes your hair stand up and your sleep turn shallow. They said something about you. They shaped a story. They took the architecture of your character, your exacting care, your refusal to perform emotion you do not feel, your silence that is never empty but always full of observation, and they translated it into a language of pathology. They told someone that you were controlling, or that you were cold, or that your love was a cage built from expectations no human could meet. They told someone that you were the reason they were suffocating, that your standards were walls, that your devotion was a weight. They painted you with colors that do not exist in your spectrum. They made your integrity sound like aggression. They made your patience sound like manipulation. They made the slow, careful, devastatingly honest way you love sound like a diagnosis they needed to escape. And then they told this story to the wrong person. This is the pivot point. This is the moment the universe tilted on its axis and the lie began to eat its own tail. The wrong person was not a casual acquaintance who would nod along and offer cheap wine and cheaper sympathy. The wrong person was not someone who had only seen you in passing, who could be convinced by a few well-placed adjectives and a carefully edited timeline. The wrong person was someone who knows you, someone who has been the recipient of your 3 a.m. problem solving, someone who has watched you show up again and again without fanfare, without invoice, without the expectation of a standing ovation. Someone who carries your frequency in their own body like a tuning fork that was struck once and never stopped humming. When your person served them the poisoned narrative, the wrong person did not drink. They set the glass down. They looked at your person with eyes that were older, clearer, and far more dangerous than your person had anticipated. And they said, quietly, with the devastating gentleness of someone who has no need to raise their voice because the truth is already loud enough. That is not the Virgo I know. Those 6 words, that is all it took. 6 words to detonate the entire false architecture your person had been constructing in the dark, because the wrong person did not just defend you. They dismantled the lie piece by piece. They asked questions your person could not answer. They brought up moments specific, dated, undeniable when you had shown up for them, the wrong person, in ways that directly contradicted the portrait your person was trying to paint. They described your character with a precision that matched your own, and in doing so, they revealed the gaps in your person's story, the inconsistencies, the projections, the cowardice of making you the villain so they would not have to be the adult. And your person saw the wrong person see it. This is why they are staying away from you. Not because they have moved on, not because they have found peace or freedom or a better fit. They are staying away because they have been caught. The lie they told about you has become a cage, and the bars are made of the wrong person's memory. They cannot face the wrong person again without admitting the lie. They cannot admit the lie without exposing the full, humiliating depth of their own deception. And they cannot face you, because facing you would mean looking into your clear, terrible, merciful eyes and seeing the reflection of what they did. They are not avoiding you. They are avoiding the truth of themselves that you have always been able to see without trying. You have felt this, haven't you? You have felt that their silence was not the silence of release. It was the silence of someone holding their breath. You have sensed, in the rare moments when their presence still intersects with your orbit, a story viewed, a street driven down, a name mentioned in a room you were not in, that there is panic underneath the distance, that they are not relaxed in their absence. They are rigid, they are braced. They are waiting for a shoe to drop that you do not even know was thrown. Because the wrong person is still watching. The wrong person has not forgotten. The wrong person may have already spoken to you, or they may be waiting for the right season, but their knowledge sits in the room like a third entity whenever your person enters it. Your person has discovered that lying about a Virgo is not a private act. It is a public health crisis for their own soul. Because Virgos do not broadcast their goodness, but everyone who has ever received it remembers. Everyone who has ever been mapped by your attention, fed by your care, held accountable by your standards, carries a reference point that cannot be overwritten by someone else's slander. You are written into people's bones in ink that does not fade. And your person just tried to scribble over that ink with a cheap pen, and the wrong person noticed the forgery immediately. Let me tell you about the wrong person, because you deserve to know who your unwitting champion is. The wrong person might be their own mother, the one who met you once and saw the way you folded your napkin, the way you asked about her medication, the way you remembered the name of her childhood dog, the one who said, after you left, that one is solid, that one is real. Do not lose that one. And when your person tried to tell her that you were the problem, that you were too demanding, too cold, too something, she looked at her child with the ancient disappointment of mothers who see through bullshit before it is fully spoken. She saw the lie, and your person saw her see it. Or the wrong person might be their best friend, the one who has watched them sabotage good things before, the one who said, "You're doing it again." You're making them the villain so you don't have to grow up. You're rewriting history because the truth is you got scared of someone who actually loved you, the one who refused to co-sign the narrative, the one who defended you not because they know you well, but because they know your person well enough to recognize the pattern of self-destruction, the one who said your name with respect while your person was trying to drag it through the mud. Or the wrong person might be someone in authority, a boss, a mentor, a figure whose judgment your person values more than oxygen, someone who has observed your work, your character, your unflinching reliability, someone who, when your person tried to explain away their own failures by blaming your influence, simply said, "That doesn't sound like them. That sounds like you making excuses." And in that moment, your person's entire house of cards developed a tremor that has not stopped since. Whoever the wrong person is, they are the key. They are the reason the distance feels so strange, so abrupt, so unfinishable, because your person did not choose to leave you. They were forced into retreat by the collapse of their own story. They are licking wounds that are entirely self-inflicted, and they are staying away from you because they cannot yet face the humiliation of being exposed, not to you, to themselves. The wrong person held up a mirror, and in that mirror, your person saw not the victim they had been performing, but the coward they had been hiding. And that coward is now running the show. That coward is the one who won't text back. That coward is the one who ducks into doorways when they see you coming. That coward is the one who has convinced themselves that if they just wait long enough, the wrong person will forget, the lie will settle into history, and they can return to you with a clean slate they never earned. But the wrong person will not forget, and neither will the universe. You need to understand what this means for you because you have been suffering under a false premise. You have been believing that their absence is evidence of your defect. You have been reviewing your own conduct with the harshness of a judge who has already decided the case. You have been wondering if your standards really are too high, if your love really is too heavy, if your need for honesty really is a burden that no one should have to carry. You have been internalizing their lie and making it your own sentence. And that, Virgo, is the real crime here. Not the lie they told, but the way you have been punishing yourself for a sin you did not commit. Let me be excruciatingly clear. You were never the problem. Your love was never the cage. Your standards were never cruelty. Your silence was never a weapon. These were translations they made because they were not fluent in your language. They were not ready for the depth you offered. They were not strong enough to be held accountable by someone who actually pays attention. And rather than admitting their own limitation, they pathologized your strength. They made your integrity sound like oppression, because oppression was easier to complain about than their own refusal to grow. And the wrong person saw through it. The wrong person, by refusing to believe the lie, has vindicated you in a court you did not know was in session. You have been acquitted. Your name has been cleared. The record has been corrected, but the correction happened behind closed doors, in a room you were not invited to, and so you are still standing in the hallway, holding the weight of a guilt that has already been lifted. It is time to set it down. The silence you have been interpreting as rejection is actually evidence. It is evidence that their lie did not work. It is evidence that your reputation is stronger than their slander. It is evidence that the people who truly see you truly, and it is evidence that your person is not staying away because they have moved on to something better. They are staying away because they have been caught in something worse. They have been caught in the act of diminishing the one person who actually loved them without performance. And the shame of that exposure is keeping them on the other side of the door. But here is the guidance that this transmission is desperate to deliver. Do not wait by the door. You have been waiting. I know you have. You have been waiting for the explanation that makes sense, the apology that cleans the slate, the return that proves the distance was temporary. You have been organizing your own heart into a filing system of maybe and what if and when they realize. But the door is not where the action is. The action is inside you. The action is the radical reclamation of your own narrative from the hands of someone who never deserved to hold it. They lied about you. That is their karma. The wrong person heard. That is their reckoning. You are free. That is your inheritance. And what you do with that freedom in the next 3 weeks will determine whether this lie becomes a scar or a tattoo. A scar is damage that healed. A tattoo is art that was chosen. You get to choose. What does the choice look like? It looks like stopping the investigation. You do not need to know the exact words they used. You do not need to know the identity of the wrong person, though your intuition has probably already sketched a face. You do not need the transcript of the conversation that exposed them. The knowing is in your body already. The relief you feel when you consider that their silence is not your fault, that is the truth landing. The anger that rises when you imagine them painting you as unstable, that is your integrity defending itself. The strange, hollow grief that comes when you realize they chose to lie rather than grow, that is the end of the illusion. Let all 3 feelings coexist. They are not contradictory. They are the complete picture. And when the picture is complete, you hang it on the wall and you move to the next room. Your person will return, not because they have healed, not because they have become worthy, but because the lie they told is now a ghost that haunts every room they enter. They will return because they cannot outrun the wrong person's judgment. They will return because the only way to silence the echo is to face the source. They will return with an apology that has been rehearsed in the shower, polished by desperation, and delivered with the trembling hands of someone who has discovered that their own narrative is a prison. They will say, I was wrong. They will say, I said things that weren't true. They will say, I was scared. And all of these things will be true. But their truth does not obligate your reception. When they return, you will be standing in a different place than where they left you. You will not be the person who was waiting. You will be the person who was vindicated. And vindication changes the temperature of forgiveness. Forgiveness, when it is given from a place of waiting, is desperate. It is hungry. It will accept crumbs and call them bread. But forgiveness given from vindication is sovereign. It is a queen dispensing mercy from a throne. It does not need the apology to survive. It simply chooses, with full knowledge and full power, whether to let the offender rise or to let them remain on their knees. You may choose to forgive. You may choose to let them explain. You may choose to open a door that has been closed. But if you choose these things, Choose them with the full weight of your cleared name behind you. Choose them knowing that the wrong person already defended you in your absence. Choose them knowing that your goodness was never in question, only their capacity to receive it. Choose them with a contract in your hand, not a contract of paper and ink, but a contract of behavior. The lie was a boundary they crossed. The return must include a boundary they never cross again. They do not get to come back and pretend the lie was a misunderstanding. They do not get to come back and act as if their silence was self-care rather than cowardice. They do not get to come back until they can look you in the eye and say, I lied, I was wrong, and I have already begun the work of becoming someone who never needs to lie again. And if they cannot say that, if they come back with excuses, with half-truths, with the careful reframing of, I was going through something, or I didn't mean it like that, or I just needed space, then you leave them on the threshold. You do not invite them in for tea. You do not offer the comfort of your listening ear. You offer the mirror. You offer the silence that says, I know what you did, and the wrong person knows too, and your return is not a reset. It is a job interview for a position you already failed at. This is your power now. The power of the exonerated, the power of the one whose truth was louder than their lie, even when you were not in the room to speak it. The wrong person spoke for you. The universe spoke for you. Your own integrity, built over years of quiet, invisible, relentless goodness, spoke for you. And now your person is cowering in the silence they created, realizing that they picked the wrong enemy, told the wrong lie, and burned the wrong bridge. Let them cower. Let them reckon. Let them do the work of becoming someone who can face you without flinching. That work is not your responsibility. It is theirs. And the distance between you is not a wound to be healed. It is a classroom where they are learning in the hardest possible way that Virgos do not need to defend themselves. Their character is the defense. Their consistency is the argument. Their love, once given, is a reference that cannot be destroyed by someone else's slander. You are free now. Free from the lie, free from the waiting, free from the self-doubt that has been eating at your edges like a moth in a wool coat. Put on something new, something that fits the body you have become in their absence, something that does not smell like their fear. Walk out into the light of a story that has been corrected in your favor. And if you see them in the distance, if you catch their eye across the room they have been avoiding, do not look away first. Hold the gaze. Let them see that you know. Let them see that the wrong person told you, or that the universe told you, or that your own soul told you what your mind was too humble to claim, that you were never the villain in this story. You were the one who loved too truly for a liar to survive in your light. The light is still on. The door is locked from the inside, and the key is in your pocket next to a note from the wrong person that says, I told them the truth about you. I told them they were a fool. And I told them that if they ever come near you again, they had better come correct. Let them come correct, or let them not come at all. Either way, the lie is dead, and you, Virgo, are very much alive. Now straighten your spine. The weight was never yours. The silence was never yours. The story was never yours. You have been returned to yourself, cleared of charges you were never guilty of, and the next chapter begins with a single, devastating, liberating word: free.